Have you ever wondered how a simple touch of color on the lips could hold the power to attract, to command, and even to destroy? For thousands of years, lipstick has been more than just makeup. It has been a weapon of beauty, a tool of rebellion, and, at times, a silent symbol of defiance against the powers that sought to control women. From the temples of Babylon to the silver screens of Hollywood, from the blood-red lips of Cleopatra to the soldiers' wives of World War II, lipstick has written a story unlike any other. A story painted in desire, danger, and strength. This is the history of lipstick, the kiss of death, an ancient tradition that survived time, culture, and even condemnation. In this journey, we will uncover how lipstick began in the dust of ancient empires, how it became a forbidden color during the Middle Ages, and how it finally rose again as a global symbol of freedom and beauty. Because behind every shade of red lies the story of a woman and the courage it takes to be seen. The One Pohab. Our story begins in the cradle of civilization, ancient Mesopotamia, more than 5,000 years ago. Archaeologists have uncovered small clay jars and stone palettes once filled with red pigments. Inside them were traces of crushed gemstones and minerals, used not for painting walls, but lips. In Babylon, noble women mixed powdered semi-precious stones with natural oils to create their own lip color. It wasn't just for beauty. It was a mark of wealth, power, and even magic. To wear color on the lips meant you belonged to the upper world, blessed by the gods and admired by men. Across the desert, in ancient Egypt, another powerful civilization was painting their lips. Cleopatra herself was known to mix red pigment from crushed carmine beetles with fish scales to create that shimmering, irresistible scarlet. But Egyptian lipstick wasn't only about allure. It was also about protection. Many believed that red lips could guard against evil spirits and illness. To them, makeup was both sacred and scientific. Even men used lipstick, pharaohs, priests, and nobles. In the blazing sun of the Nile, a painted mouth was a sign of divine order and respect for the gods. Meanwhile, in ancient Greece and Rome, the story took a darker turn. There, lipstick became a symbol not of power, but of class, used mostly by courtesans, dancers, and women who lived on the margins of society. And yet, the fascination endured. Even when society tried to shame it, lipstick refused to disappear. Across time and empire, the color red continued to whisper the same message: I am here, I am alive, and I will not be silenced. The One Fa, the Middle Ages, lipsticks fall from grace. One Poivatu. As Europe entered the Middle Ages, lipstick, once a symbol of beauty and power, became a mark of sin. The church gained dominance over people's daily lives, and everything that hinted at vanity or seduction was seen as dangerous, even demonic. Red lips, once a sign of divine favor, were now considered a disguise, a trick of the devil. Women who wore lipstick were accused of trying to tempt men, to lure them into sin. In England, during the 13th century, King Edward II declared that women who used makeup to deceive men could be tried for witchcraft. In other regions of Europe, red lipstick was said to contain the devil's kiss. It was believed that when a woman painted her lips, she sealed a pact with evil forces. But not all women obeyed. Some noble women and actresses, hidden behind velvet curtains, still applied color in secret. For them, lipstick was rebellion, a quiet protest against oppression. In France and Italy, where art and elegance flourished despite strict morals, lip color began to reappear among the wealthy. A touch of tint, a whisper of crimson, enough to bring life to the face without drawing the church's wrath. So while the dark centuries tried to erase it, lipstick never truly vanished. It simply went underground, waiting patiently for its time to rise again. 1.5. The Renaissance and the rebirth of lip color. R1.5. As Europe awakened from the long shadow of the Middle Ages, the Renaissance brought light, color, and beauty back to life. Art blossomed, science advanced, and for women, the mirror once again became a tool of expression, not shame. In royal courts from Florence to London, lipstick returned to power. No longer a symbol of sin, it became a mark of refinement and sophistication. In England, Queen Elizabeth I was the most famous example. Her face was ghostly white with powder, but her lips were painted a deep, commanding red. She believed the color gave her strength, even protection. Some whispered that she thought lipstick could ward off death itself. Her bold red lips became a royal statement. It was said that her courtiers trembled before her words, not only for their power, but for the vivid crimson that framed them. Across Europe, noble women mixed their own lip colors from beeswax, carmine, and crushed gemstones. Each shade reflected status and mystery. To wear red was to say, I am alive, I have power. But lipstick's rebirth was not only about beauty, it was about reclaiming freedom. The Renaissance woman, like the art she inspired, refused to hide her color any longer. And though the church still frowned upon vanity, the world had already changed. Lipstick had returned, not as a secret sin, but as a symbol of confidence, passion, and the rediscovery of the self. Number 1. Bar, the Age of Enlightenment and the Scandal of the Scarlet Lips. Bar 1.5. The 18th Century, the Age of Enlightenment, a time when reason, art, and philosophy flourished. But even as minds opened, society's view of women remained trapped in contradiction. Lipstick, that tiny tool of transformation, became a battlefield of morality and power. In the salons of Paris, powdered wigs and silk gowns shimmered beneath candlelight. Noble women painted their lips in delicate shades of rose and crimson. A smile was never just a smile. It was a message, a weapon, a secret. To some, lipstick symbolized refinement and allure. To others, it was a scandal. Church preachers called it the mark of the devil's deceit, warning that painted lips could lead good men astray. But women of the Enlightenment were not so easily silenced. They read philosophy, debated politics, and, yes, wore red lips proudly. In England, a law was even proposed declaring that women who used makeup to deceive men into marriage could be tried for witchcraft. Absurd? Perhaps. But it showed the fear lipstick inspired, the fear of a woman in control of her own image. Lipstick was no longer just color. It was rebellion. It was intellect and defiance wrapped in a shade of crimson. As the world changed, through revolution, reason, and reform, lipstick remained a small but powerful declaration that women could choose how to be seen, and that, sometimes, a single stroke of red could speak louder than 1,000 words. 1.5. The 19th Century, from Scandal to Secret Seduction. 1.5. The 19th century arrived, an age of manners, morality, and modesty. In polite society, a woman's virtue was her greatest ornament, and lipstick became a dangerous secret. The bold reds of earlier centuries were now whispered about in drawing rooms. Respectable ladies avoided them, while courtesans, actresses, and rebels kept the color alive behind closed doors. To wear lipstick in daylight was to risk scandal. But in the candlelit corners of theaters and private salons, crimson lips still glowed, symbols of confidence and forbidden allure. As Queen Victoria's influence spread across Europe, so did her strict standards of propriety. Cosmetics were labeled vulgar, a sign of vanity or sin, yet even the purest faces hid secrets. Lip color was discreetly mixed from crushed flowers, rubbed gently onto lips for a natural blush. A quiet rebellion, unseen but deeply felt. Meanwhile, across the ocean in America, industrialization began to change everything. For the first time, beauty products were being mass-produced. Lip color was becoming accessible. The red shade no longer belonged only to queens or courtesans, but to any woman bold enough to wear it. It was the beginning of a new chapter, a world where lipstick would step out of the shadows and reclaim its power in the open light. The 1-5. The birth of modern lipstick, Hollywood, war, and the power of red. 1-5. The early 20th century marked a turning point. The secret rouge of the 19th century was about to explode into the spotlight. In the roaring 1920s, women cut their hair short, wore daring dresses, and painted their lips in bold, unapologetic red. The flapper was born, a symbol of freedom, rebellion, and independence. Lipstick became her weapon of expression. In smoky jazz clubs and under neon lights, the crimson smile declared, "I decide who I am." Hollywood soon amplified that message. Actresses like Clara Bow, the original It Girl, and later Marilyn Monroe, turned red lips into the mark of beauty, confidence, and seduction. Silver screens glowed with ruby hues, and women everywhere wanted that same power. The power to be seen, the power to choose. Then came war. During World War II, lipstick took on a new meaning. Factories produced bullets and bombs, and tubes of red. For women working on the front lines and in munitions plants, lipstick became a morale booster, a quiet reminder of dignity amid chaos. Even the military encouraged it. In the United States, the official lipstick shade for female soldiers was called Victory Red. It wasn't just makeup. It was courage, pride, and defiance rolled into one small tube. As bombs fell and nations crumbled, red lips stood strong, a symbol that beauty, spirit, and strength would survive. By the time the war ended, lipstick was no longer taboo. It had become a global statement of freedom, resilience, and the right to shine. For 1-5, the modern era, from feminist symbol to global icon. War 1-5, the story of lipstick didn't end with the war. In the decades that followed, it evolved from a symbol of beauty to a symbol of power. The 1960s and 70s brought revolution. Women marched for equality, their voices loud, their spirit unshakable. Some feminists rejected makeup altogether, calling it a tool of patriarchy. But others reclaimed it. They said, "Wearing lipstick is my choice, and choice is freedom." Red lips once again became a declaration, not of vanity, but of self-possession. In the 1980s, lipstick exploded into color. Electric pinks, deep purples, shimmering bronze. The palette of self-expression widened. Fashion, art, and identity merged. The lipstick tube became a tiny, powerful artifact, a personal signature, a reflection of mood and identity. Then came the 21st century, the digital age, selfies, influencers, global brands. Lipstick wasn't just a beauty product, it was a statement shared with the world. From Tokyo to New York, from Lagos to Paris, millions of shades celebrated the diversity of women's faces and stories. And yet, one color endures. The same color that queens wore, that actresses flaunted, that soldiers carried through war. Red. the eternal symbol of confidence, power, and allure, a color that whispers and shouts at the same time. The kiss of death, once feared and forbidden, has become a mark of life, of strength, of identity. Across ages and continents, lipstick remains what it has always been, not just a tool of beauty, but a mirror of womanhood itself.